Thursday night edition. It's the Orange and Blue Bloods edition of the Buddy Martin Show. And we've got some terrific stuff for you tonight. You're going to love it. A lot of news today in the world of sports, especially coaching. And we're real happy to talk to you about that. And especially at my alma mater, Ocala High School. We got our man, John Brantley, the third, back in the fold. He's going to join us to talk about his new gig as the Wildcats head coach. Later in the program, Ben Troop will be joining us, along with Franz Beard and Lauren Meadows. It's going to be a good night tonight. Talk Gator football as well. All coming your way right here on this channel. Tell your friends and neighbors that the Buddy Martin Show is on the air.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Evening and welcome to the program. Going to be a good night tonight. We've got some news on three legendary coaches. That's right. I said three legendary coaches today. Back to work, and we're happy for all of them. We've got number one, a guy named Bill Belichick, coaching at North Carolina. Whoever thought we'd see that day. And Dan Mullen coming back to coach at UNLV. And the other legend, John Brantley III, my good friend, formerly a coach at Trinity. He actually was first quarterback to play for Steve Spurrier, and he joins the program now. Good evening to you, John, and congratulations.
Buddy, how you doing tonight? I appreciate it. Pretty big day today for the Wildcat Nation.
Yes, it was, and I want you to tell us all about what happened. Now, you had a lot of people to you've had a lot of people contact you, people excited about it, and there's so much history, and I'm sure not everybody knows the great history there. How about you and your brother Scott came in there for Grant Hall and won a state championship, and the program has been great at times over the years, and so and how you came from. Listen, I know the Brantley story about as good as any story I know. I've written and talked about it for many years, and one of the things I was thinking about today, John, is I remember when we did talk radio together. We covered the Gators, traveled around, did the games, post game shows, and all kind. Had a great time. So first of all, this is your day.
Spurrier's favorite statement to us.
Yeah, we were.
Supposed to be a what?
Yeah, we were in. I think we were at Auburn.
Auburn. We were
and
in Auburn.
And we were in the lobby of the hotel when they were getting ready to go on the bus, and we'd been on the air that morning. And he came over by the table and he didn't sit down. He tapped on the table and said, "Everybody wants to be a star in LA County." That was the song that was popular back then. So we're kind of dating ourselves there.
No, we had some great trips. Never went to LSU.
We went
around.
Yeah, it's a great time.
We were going everywhere to showcase that deal and everything, and got a lot of good responses and reviews of the show.
We did.
That was a good time, buddy.
It was a lot of fun. We had that great motorhome trip that time, so that was a class. One of those cell phones were about the size of a shoebox back in those days. We had. Let's get to your day today. You said you had a lot of people come, but talk about the response. My goodness, you had a big show out in Ocala at Forest today with a lot of kids showing up.
Well, we did, buddy. I mean, we just, I resigned from Trinity Catholic about 3 weeks ago, and heck, probably one of the reasons I looked at even doing something, I used the word resign, and some of the people use the word retired, but that wasn't the deal. But I sat around my house for a couple of weeks. My wife finally said, "You need to get out of here. You got to go do something." I mean, I'm sitting here and you're getting in my way and everything. So, and this job came open for us. Job came open even before I resigned. It wasn't there. And I said, I need to go look at this and see what they got going. And, and we talked and, it gives me an opportunity to go full circle. As you mentioned earlier, Scott and I played at Forest High School here in Ocala, won a state championship my senior year, and Scott backed it up with another state championship the following year, back to back. And so that's, we moved here in 1970, and this is where we went to high school all 4 years. So a lot of history there. My wife graduated from Forest, cheerleader. My daughter, cheerleader, graduated from Forest, played a little tennis and everything. So a lot of history there. The only one that snuck out of the deal was Johnny, and he went to Trinity Catholic, and I had him over there and everything. But gives me a chance, like I said, to go full circle. And today they did the introduction over there, and they had everybody that was played football this past year and interested in playing in the spring. And we had over 100 kids in that auditorium today that I met with and shook every one of their hands before they left there and sold them on the thing of the buy-in. And basically the bottom line is, at the end of the day, I said, all right, guys, we get to hit the reset button. Everybody's a starter today, and we're all undefeated. They ain't no better situation than that right now. And let's see where we go from there. So we had a great meeting with the kids today. I think they left excited about the program and where we can take it, and kind of sold them and talked a little bit about my past, but I didn't need to get in all that. I think a lot of these kids know, they follow stuff. And as I told them also, buddy, I said, this is the first weekend of this time of year that I haven't, in the last 3 years, I hadn't coached in a state championship game. Wow. And I said, if I'm not coaching in a state championship game, I can't think of a better place to be than at Forest High School, being introduced as the new head football coach, and I'm glad to be with you guys. So that's the way it kind of ended and everything, but a great day, and I'm looking forward to the challenge. It will be a challenge, buddy, but I tell you what, I saw a lot of hungry kids walk through that door, and I think I found some there that I can go battle with.
That's good to know. In the limited amount, a couple of minutes we got here to go, I want you to kind of take people through it, because it's quite a story of how you and your brother came from South Carolina and got the Wildcats up to speed and won a couple of championships. And they went on to Florida together and played, and I believe got injured on the same day, the same game. You were Steve Spurrier's first quarterback. Just give people an overview who might not know the story of the Brantleys.
Well, we moved to Ocala, like I said, in 1970, and they didn't have any youth football, and we were in middle school at the time, and they started the Marion County Youth Football League at the same time, which now today continues, 54th year, grew from 5 teams to now I think they have 36, 2 fields, and it's just blossomed into one of the largest independent football leagues in the country. And then went to Forest and became a part of their football program, and it worked out. Scott started as a freshman. Both of us started as sophomores, a quarterback. We went from a 7-3 to 8-2 junior year, won a bowl game, and then that took us into the off season, and then went 13-0 and won a state championship in 74, beat Hollywood Chaminade, who won another state championship last night, beat them with the Shula boys there in Ocala. And then both of us went to Florida. I got redshirted my second year, and Scott and I played out of the same class the last 3 years at the University of Florida. I was fortunate enough, I played both baseball and football. So I had the best of both worlds when you could kind of still do that. Mm-hmm. And then both of us got hurt. He got hurt against We both got hurt against Georgia
Tech.
Same
Yeah.
game. I tore a hamstring, and then he had the collision with somebody's knee on his helmet, and he was out with a major concussion and everything. And that was kind of it for me. I went on to baseball, and then later, 4 months later, Scott got released by the Mayo Clinic up in I believe Maryland, and then he got drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And if you're ever bored, like I told my kids today, if you're ever bored, go online, look at Scott Brantley with one T, Scott, and you'll see one of the top 10 hits in NFL history there. And I talked about that. I mean, that's a major player, Dante Culpepper, Scott Brantley coming out of the Ocala area. And I talked about Johnny Brantley, my son, winning the Gatorade National High School Player of the Year. He's the only one and here's from a little town in Ocala. And I love hearing the stuff on Lagway. He won that nice award and everything.
Yeah.
Their names are both on that trophy and everything. So I just reminded them great things can come out of a little town like Ocala.
Yeah.
Ocala is not small anymore.
It's not. It's not. John, real quick, how many championships? You started with Kerwin Bell there and took over. How many championships did y'all win at Trinity?
Well, I've won 3. I've won one as a player. I've won one as an assistant coach under Kerwin Bell, and I've won one as a head coach. And what I hate to say is I've lost 4, and that's what I told those kids today. I have participated as a player, assistant coach, head coach. I've been in 7 state championship games, and that's more than the schools in Marion County combined besides Trinity Catholic. And so that's been a blessing. I'm so fortunate and to be a part of what's happened here in Marion County over the last 50 years, and look forward to carrying it on a couple more years.
I got a guy on here you can't see because you're on the phone, but I'm sure that Ben Troop would like to say congratulations to the Wildcat new head coach. And you're looking at 2 former Wildcat quarterbacks, by the way, will be one. And also this guy you can't see. And Benny, go ahead and say hi to JB3.
How you doing, sir? How's everything with you?
Good, Big Ben. I know you up there still doing that stuff in Georgia and everything, I assume, and everything going good with you. I hear you every now and then. I'll run into a show and I hear that dynamic voice.
Hey, keep listening. Listen, I got discovered by Coach Spurrier coming out of high school. I got discovered by Buddy Martin when I jumped into this media world. And I'm like, listen, Coach Spurrier ain't got rid of me yet. And Buddy already know we're going to ride this thing till the wheels fall off. And when they fall off, we're going to put them back on and keep riding down the road.
Well, I've had that same opportunity, and it's paid off for me. So stay on that track with them, young man.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir. Congratulations.
Congratulations, John. I'm so proud of you. Proud for the Wildcats. Happy. Want to come to a Wildcat game again and see what's happening out there. All right? Bring them in, buddy.
Get on down here. We're excited about that. Excited about the way the Gators turned everything around that second half of the year, and hoping to get Coach Napier down here. Coach Napier and Lamar Rembert, our principal at Forest High School, they were in the same backfield at Furman.
Really?
So,
wow.
Got a great relationship there as well.
How about that? Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, JB, congratulations. I'll talk to you soon. All the best, and go Wildcats.
I appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thank you, John.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas. Yes, sir.
That's a happy guy right there, Ben. It's a happy guy.
As he should be. I think, I think sometimes, buddy, when we get to talk about what people end up in their careers, when you transition from one career to the next, it's always good when to hear the backstory of who guys were. And because sometimes, you know how it is, buddy, going back to that episode, we talk about you won the award and the category you was in, the people in the category you was in, you assumed it was going to go to somebody other than you. And then when it goes to you, you were like, man, they're going to give me that award. Like, no, man, you earned it. And sometimes, you get a chance to go out there and, do things. I always tell people, I said, look, man, I done did so many things I ain't had no business doing, man. God saw different, though. I mean, he saw different as far as, like, who to trust, who to bless, and whoever to, go out there and be a blessing to people. So, Mr. Brantley, man, I'm happy for him, and I hear the joy in his voice about what he's getting ready to do. That's the best part about it, because no one runs the, obviously Coach Spurrier, take nothing away from Coach Meyer. Is the greatest coach, in Florida Gator football history, with Urban Meyer being right there, 1B. Ron Zook, when he got to Florida, he kept telling us, he kept saying, this is my dream job. And when you been in Florida, I've been there a couple of years already, sometimes you got to be, re-energized and reminded, hey, man, this is a blessing. This is some of the most coveted seats in the state of Florida. So I'm just happy because, Coach Brantley, man, he'll get a chance to go. Them kids going to get a lot of enthusiasm and a coach that's going to help them understand what they have, why they have it. I was blessed enough to, sit down with Theatric Faison the other day, even though I've had him on 84 Reasons before. And him being the greatest Fletcher high school player there is, now he's the head coach at Fletcher. And just to sit down and talk to him, about what being a head coach means to him. So, Belichick is back in. He's at North Carolina. Now you got Coach Brantley. Hey, I'm happy. Hey, coaching. Hey, man, I don't know if the game of football passes you by as a player, but as a coach, it's like golf, baby. It's unlimited. As long as they're gonna let you call the X and O's, let them go out there.
Yeah. Yes, good. It's a good story. So, by the way, I said there's a day of coaching legends being hired. You had Dan Mullen, by the way.
Yeah.
And Bill Belichick and John Brantley III. How about that? All hired the same day.
Hey, a beautiful. Listen, I'm happy for Coach Brantley. Obviously, I'm happy for Coach Mullen. I'm happy for Coach Belichick. I think sometimes, people see what Coach Belichick has done, obviously in the National Football League, which is unprecedented, if it'll ever be touched ever again. Being away from football for 1 year, buddy, and being in the booth and being around all this young energy, sometimes, he want to coach. Let's face it, Bill Belichick is a football coach. But for him to get back in it, replacing Mac Brown and those kids up there in Tar Heel country, They're gonna get a guy that's gonna give you everything you got. UNLV, get Coach Dan Mudd. So you're finna have a high flying offense out there at UNLV. So yeah, when I got asked about Coach Mullen, I said I'm happy for him, man. I said I think sometimes, people want to judge people on something they don't like about it. Coach Mullen can coach. Mississippi State, Florida, now UNLV, offensive coordinator, in some of the best years at Florida under Coach Urban Meyer as the OC. So, I'm happy for that man. I'm happy for him to get back out there. He got to deal with the heat. He just ain't got to deal with the humidity out there in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I think he'll be all right. I think he'll do just fine.
It's going to be fun to watch. All right, so we're going to take a quick break and talk about our sponsor. When I come back, I want to talk to you about what happened to DJ Lagway, whether he was snubbed or not, which I find it hard to believe. Everybody's raving about this young man. I'm going to tell you about what happened, and we'll see what you get your take on it. And then we'll talk a little bit about Belichick, about, what we think he's going to do. They say he's going to bring an unbelievable amount of money to the NIL packages and in North Carolina. So the game has changed. So stand by. I'm going to tell you about our sponsor, Melvin Law. On Melvin Law Monday, I talked to Jeffrey just yesterday. He's always there and ready. And he's always going somewhere. Let me get my water here. And he was headed in this case to Miami. And Meldon Law does a terrific job, both as attorneys and the official law firm for injuries for the University of Florida, and also as a supporter of the Gator program. Jeffrey spends a lot of money sponsoring many, many things in the Gator Nation. And if you ever wanted to score some tickets, a great place to go is Meldon Law's Facebook page. They give away tons of stuff all the time. Now with volleyball, by the way, the Gator volleyball team right now is tied 25-all with Stanford in the regionals. They're down 2-1, and this is a crucial couple of points for the women for the Gator volleyball team. So we'll see how they do. The number 2 ranked Stanford Cardinal, we just went up 26-25, and the number 6 ranked Gators. So anyway, they have tickets there if you want to score them. And also, they can help you with your lawsuit if you need help. I encourage you to call Maryland Law and find out what they mean when they say they don't back down either. And they're there for you if you need their help. All right, let's talk about whether this is anything or nothing. They picked I like to say who it was. The all SEC, all freshman team was named today. And I don't know exactly who picked it, but whoever it was, Florida put it out. 4 names are on the all SEC freshman team. Jaden Ball, my man, as you know, big John Jaden Ball, man. Gannon Burt, backup snapper. Miles Graham, a terrific player, and Bryce Levitt, offensive lineman, recognized for their exceptional freshman campaign. Who's missing off that list?
Oh, I mean, A1 DJ Lagway is missing off that list.
Yeah.
Right? But you know what, buddy? Here's the thing about DJ Lagway. This is what I get. This is what I get from him. Number one, he's a gamer, right? He 5 starts, 5-0, no losses. He understands his importance to this team, not just now, but for the future. And I don't think he's worried about lists. I really, really don't. I think what he does, he sits back and says, all right, people still thinking that, I'm subpar, which he's definitely not. But I think he's gonna use it all as fuel. Oh, and whoever did that 2025 schedule, that thing they did when they sitting there with like Fred Taylor, that stuff was beautiful. Just to sit there and watch DJ Lagway, obviously sit there, going back and forth. I think that for me, when you think about what a guy like DJ Lagway, this time last year, buddy, we going through this recruiting process. Everybody kept saying the same thing. Is he going to stick with Florida? Is he going to stick with Florida? Because you saw what he was doing in Texas with the numbers he was putting up. And when he said, not only am I going to stick with Florida, I'm going to help us recruit. I am going to help us recruit. I don't think he's worried about no list, buddy, because, buddy, just like I know, the world knows, the college football world knows who the best true freshman quarterback was in the country. And that's taking nothing away from anybody else, right? People can say, yes, I'm biased. I put it out. Yeah, I'm biased. But the proof is in the pudding. There is a team out of Athens that knows if he plays the whole game, it's a total different game. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that Georgia don't win the game. I'm saying it's going to be a different game. So I'm just happy we got him. If you are a transfer portal, every time I look at X now, buddy, every transfer portal receiver is either taking a visit to Florida, want to come to Florida. This is how good DJ Lagway was. Trey Wilson was supposed to be our number 1 guy. Obviously ended up being Elijah Badger, and DK had a good year. DJ was playing so good, we wasn't even talking about Trey. And obviously and people kept saying, is he gonna transfer? Remember this, buddy? Is Wilson gonna transfer? What'd he say? Nope, I'm coming back. Yeah. And Elijah Badger playing in the bowl game. Right? These guys, I think, and buddy, I gotta give you the most credit. When DJ Lagway, you said, dude, I'm on the DJ Lagway train. And that doesn't mean that we didn't want Graham Mertz to play the whole year. But most freshmen, as you know, buddy, they ain't ready to jump out there, even if they super duper talented. He was. And he is. Now he gets a full off season, right? Understanding what the offense is going to be, what the weapons he's going to have, with guys like Ball coming back and Trayon Webb coming back in the 2025 class we got coming in, and the guys we're going to get in the portal. And I seen the schedule, even though us playing LSU the 3rd game of the season is weird.
Yeah, we're gonna bring it about that. It's a matter of Go ahead. I got you.
You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So I'm listen. I'm man. Maybe I'm just one of these old school players. I mean, I was blessed enough to make some lists in my time. I look at it like this: if you weren't about lists, like preseason All-American lists and Davey O'Brien, man, just let it happen. Man, go out there and do what you do. And if they think you worthy, and I don't know who the voters are, you'll make the list. But if you watch college football in 2024, there was a freshman named DJ Lagway. Whether you root for him or against him, his game speaks volumes. You don't got to like it. But he started 5 games. He won all 5. right? And like I said, I'm not gonna say what the outcome would have been, but if he plays all game in Jacksonville, they know. I'm just saying they know what if. I'm just saying that because if we tied 2020 with the third string, 6 minutes left in the game. That's all I'm gonna say, man. You know them. I remember back in the day. Well, no, I don't remember this. I'm not gonna say I remember this. I remember the story. There was a freshman at Oklahoma State named Barry Sanders.
Heard
Right?
of
They
him.
were playing Oklahoma, and they said, "Don't hurt Thurman Thomas, because that guy that got behind him is the truth." Well, I'm not saying DJ Lagway is Barry Sanders. I'm saying we got us one. That's all I'm saying. We got us one. And I'm looking forward to him, watching him at 20. Don't worry about that list, DJ, man. They know what it is, man. They know it.
All right. Well, here's one of the reasons why. Good evening to France Beard.
I'm the reason.
Late dinner. Sutters from South Carolina. This sets up he made it, the all-freshman team. DJ Lagway did not. Go figure. So let's go set up.
He's a redshirt freshman, and he started 12 games. That's why.
He's still, Florida's backup long snapper started 2 or played in 2, and he still made the all-freshman team. Anyway, the point is that it sets up an interesting competition for Sellers and DJ this year because both South Carolina and Florida can be pretty good. So, France, what did you think about the fact that, first of all, let's get that. I want to get your take on the portal, too, as well. First of all, do you think it's nothing that he got snubbed?
I think it gives him incentive to get out there and show people. Lenora Sellers is a very good football player. No question about it. But, I'm going to be a star. It's kind of like I made a comment. I had told you on Monday night. I was talking with a scout from the Suns, and it was our boy Kondo going against Efton Reed, and I made the comment to the scout for the Suns, who I know for a while. He played at college ball at Georgia Tech, and I said, in 2 years, Alex Condon is 6'11", and in 2 years he's going to be a superstar. And I said, Efton Reed is 7'1", and in 2 years he's going to be 7'1". And I'm not saying Lenora Sellers ain't going to be a good football player, but DJ Lagway is going to be a superstar in 2 years. He's on the verge of it right now, but his ceiling is forever. I've seen Lenore's play, and he's a really good football player. But there's a big difference between good and great. And this kid has great genes in his pool, and those genes ain't drowning in the pool.
All right. Well, okay. Good point. Listen, I want to get to something you wrote about today. We've talked about the transfer portal and it being, good for some and not good for others. But I looked at your column today and I started adding up the people. And I know some of this is rostering and some of the guys are coming. As a matter of fact, there's a story out there now that's a good possibility that they get back the guy they lost. They wanted so badly to keep. I'll tell you about that in a minute, what I know about it. Let's talk about the player. These guys are gone to the portal. Now, some can still come back. Justice Boone, Mike Williams, Quincy Ivory, Bryce Capers, Andy Jean, Jakeem Jackson, Kelby Collins, Christian Williams, Artis Boardingham, Deuce Spurlock, Parker Lease, and the one that hurt the most, I think, Jack Pyburn, and now tight end Gavin Hill. The story was that Zach Alberti, who broke the story on Pyburn, said that Pyburn has gotten 30 contacts, but they're not ruling out the possibility of him coming back to Florida. What have you heard on that, France?
I've heard that he really is regretful of what happened. Here's where the difference is. You've got 18, 19-year-old kids dealing with agents for the first time. And I got to tell you what, some of these guys are pretty darn slick. And the problem isn't the really good agents. I mean, there are guys out there that like Trace Armstrong. He represents mostly coaches, but he also represents players. And Trace Armstrong is as straight arrow as it gets. He's not going to tell you something that isn't true. And you get a lot of these guys out there who are wannabe agents, and they may have had a little success somewhere else, and then they get with a guy and they convince him that, okay, we can go in there and ask for the moon because look what you did for this team. And if he were to get $45,000 a month, I think there's only about 4 or 5 players on this team that get more than that. And is he the 4th or 5th best player on this team? I don't think so. I don't think anybody could say it. He's a good football player. He may be a great one someday, but he isn't one right now. He's a very inspirational guy that has helped the team's defense a lot. But they can live without him. They can't live without DJ Lagway. They can live without Jack Pyburn. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, well, this is a team made up of, I think, a lot of good players that we're finding out about. And certainly nobody touches Lagway. Jaden Bow, I think about him. But the names I see on here, Ben, that concern me a little bit, not knowing what's waiting in the wings. They may have somebody better. I don't know. Justice Boone, I thought, had some ability to play in defensive end. Andy Jean was a wide receiver I thought could play some, a freshman, but I'm not sure he would have got on the field. Kelvin Collins, I thought, had a future as a defensive lineman as a sophomore. Artis Bortingham definitely had some upside as a big tight end. And then Jack Pyburn, who I think was kind of heart and soul of that defense the last 3 games. Those concerned me, but without knowing, Ben, who they're going to be competing, who took their places, it's hard to judge.
It is hard to judge, but I think sometimes, I do think Fran's hitting on the head. And when you're dealing with these agents, man, they are very savvy. But I think these players need to always know something. Even though I dealt with an agent when I'm getting ready to go to the league, but I remember what Mike Spiegel actually told me. They said, Ben, I don't care who walk in this room. They work for you. I don't care who walks in this room. And at the time, they wouldn't let a Drew Rosenhaus even talk to me. They wouldn't even let him come talk to me. I think Jack is a prime example of, you don't got to say everything you feel, man. You don't got to make everything public. Because once it's out there, public perception is the hardest thing for anybody to deal with. I don't care who you are. If you Jack, I get it. You want your money, as everybody does. I mean, they talking about players returning back to school with these big NIL deals. I think Jack, the 30 schools, that's a lot of smoke and mirrors too, because saying I've been contacted by 30, that don't mean that 30 schools want you to come play for them.
No.
But at the same time, Jack is looking at the whole picture now, because he's saying, dude, I am in college making money. People talk about $30,000, $40,000 a month. I'm talking to Theatric Faison the other day on 84 Reasons. I'm like, 30 or 40,000. We would have been the easiest people to negotiate with back in the day. What?
You'd have taken $30,000 a year.
What? Listen.
Where do I sign? Right? Where do I sign?
Listen. Nolan Simmons is over Chrysler Hall. He's our financial aid advisor. Do you know how many times Nolan Simmons called my mom and said, "Please tell Ben and his friends to stop trying to get loans. They don't give out loans for $1,500. That's what we in the Office of Student Life trying to get. Hey man, somebody go, hey man, I think I went through. No, and I think now sometimes, you go back home and they say, man, how much you making a month? 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, but I want 45. They're gonna say, you willing to put a certain dollar amount out there to not play with a team that's trending upward? Because I was blessed enough to spend all my time in Florida. I ain't even think about leaving, but I can only imagine going to another school, watching my boys doing what ain't no way. And I get it. Listen, I'm not in this era. They're gonna get their money. But if you are Miles Graham, if you are DJ Lagway, Everybody's getting something. I'm talking to Derek. I'm talking to Derek Wingo. Derek Wingo said, "Yeah, Ben. You know, when I got to go speak at NASA, I said, wait, stop. You got to speak at NASA, yeah, man." And he didn't realize that doesn't happen, Derek. You're at NASA. Yeah, I got to meet all these people, and I think sometimes you can't see the forest through the trees. I get it, but regret is a hard thing because you making money. Them boys. Listen, ain't no more Guthrie. I don't even think they got Guthries in Gainesville no more. They got Whole Foods. And, they got Spurriers. They got PF Chang's. Them boys. Archer looks very different from when I was there. That's all I'm saying. And I think sometimes, buddy and friends, when you really think about it, it's gonna take going home, talking to a family member that's ain't never seen this type of money. Like, do you make how much money? That's how much money I make a year. And you want it. What I think the reality is setting in that, hey, if I come back, I might not get the snaps I want to get. But I want to finish where I started because I could go somewhere else. They can give me a bunch of money. But here's another thing. Not to throw him under the bus. Ask Princely, is it really gonna work out the way you thought? Because Princely came back, right? And he a good player, but that don't mean it's gonna work out the way you want. So I'm wishing every one of them the best. Aldis Boardingham was obviously a guy I never thought would leave, but I'm just telling you, man, the grass is green. You know what I'm saying? In the fall, it ain't green in the winter. It ain't. It starts turning green in the spring. But I would say this: I wish all those boys the best. I really, really do. But at the same time, if they don't want to be here, man, I mean, it's for reasons that we'll never, ever know. I don't think it's from a lack of competing. If I've been here and I know what's here and I know what's coming and I'm not in the plans, it happens. But I bet you Jack is thinking to himself, hey, man, I can't make it. Just say, if you're going to jump in the portal, jump in the portal. They do all this. With all that being said, I'm jumping in the portal. They make public statements. When he said that about the money, when I first saw it, I go, God, dog, they getting that much money a month? They getting what? Man, I take, my goodness, 45,000. I would have been like, no. If my mom and daddy would have heard I was getting $45,000, my mom would have said, put 44,500 in the bank. Boy, my Pell Grant was just fine for me for 4 years. So I went from 1,500 to 1,750, and by the time I left France, buddy, I was getting $2,000 a semester. What? I was living the life. Trying to tell you.
Here's the thing that people don't realize, and they think money grows on trees and so forth.
Apparently, so these days, yeah.
But here's what is telling about all this. You could put 100 players who are on scholarship and give them $100,000 a year, and it'd be $10 million. And you know what? The University of Florida just picked up in that ESPN contract. University of Florida got $17 million more than they had last year, just from that contract. And that contract is going to get expanded. And now that they got this deal going with Congress, we're going to have revenue sharing, and they're going to have another $20 million to spend on athletes. So, the money is going, it's kind of like this. If I'm getting money, and I think Ben just hit on it. If I'm getting money, let's say I'm getting $10,000 a month, and I'm 19 years old, and I'm getting $10,000 a month. I mean, Buddy and I can tell you, Ben, about what we got paid when we started in the sports writing business. I mean,
no, wait. I can tell you this story one time when I told my young wife when I was just out of college. She said, "What's your ideal job?" I said, "I get a sports writing job. If I can get one making $10,000 a year, I'll be set for life." That was my goal, to make $10,000 a year. That's what it was like back then. But no, look, it's hard to measure those dollars today versus then. You just know it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money flowing out there. And I understand you want to get yours. I think Florida's been blessed so far to keep everything intact. And we talked about that a lot. And that's where Billy's been a master in doing that. Hopefully he can keep doing that. I'd love to see him get Pyburn back some way. I think probably Pyburn went for a kill and didn't get it. But anyway, so we'll see how that happens. Let me do this. Let me do this quick take on our friends. Hold on one second. I want to tell you about Titan MRI, which has changed quite a bit, and then we've got Lauren Meadows coming in. We're going to break down the Dan Mullen thing and the Bill Belichick thing. How could that be? How could you do that? And Belichick back, and who else might come back to coach high school? I don't know. That's floored to me. I didn't think that was ever possible. Then we'll take a look at this schedule, which Fran says is one of the toughest, just as tough as this past year, for sure. So that's something we'll take care of as well. And I wanted to tell folks, if I can, I'll call up my information here, that things have changed for Titan MRI. They're actually called something else now. There's been a transaction that's taken place. It's even better for all of us in North Central Florida, because you're going to get a better deal with more opportunities to go take part in this. Been some changes on things, like they now take insurance. They're going to have offices and other places that you'll want to take part in and see about. In Gainesville is one of them. And if I get my Titan copy to come up here, we'll take a look at that and tell you about it. It's quite a good deal. We do appreciate, by the way, them sponsoring this program. They've been a little sponsor to us, and also put up with Matthews. And they've, let's see, Titan MRI is now Titan MRI and Imaging. They've been acquired by Highfield. Mr. Joe Colorea started Highfield in 1997, Highfield MRI, and now he's back. Titan MRI's Imaging now has 3 locations. It's a Surview, Gainesville, with its Park Avenue location, and now the Millennium Center, and one in Lake City, serving all of the Columbia County folks and Valdosta, Georgia. Titan MRI and Imaging offers the same great customer service. They accept insurance now through their new convenient self-pay option. They offer MRIs, CT, CAT scans, X-rays, and ultrasounds. Easy scheduling with lots of options, including evenings and weekends. Larger MRI machines for patient comfort. No ERs, no hospitals, don't need that. Coming soon to Ocala for better service in Marion County and the surrounding areas. Titan MRI, check them out. It's your choice. Okay, guys, let's see. Let me grab our colleague here real fast. We're all loading up. France go to the bowl game. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And it is a significant bowl game for everybody. Now that we think we might have at least one parking place. Wow. Let's see what our having problems with that. But let's go see where our buddy Lauren is. He's down there. There he is right there. Say good evening to Lauren Meadows. Good evening, Lauren. How you doing?
How you guys doing?
Good. I want to get into look at the schedule again. Franz, you talked about it again in your column. But first, before that, let's get to the astounding news of Bill Belichick. In your wildest dreams, Ben, did you ever think that could happen?
No. But I mean, I say this all the time, man. I mean, the best players in the world play on Sunday. The best brand of football is on Saturday. That's the best brand of football you're going to see, because it's got the best variety. And I think Bill Belichick getting away from it, being around all this young energy in the booth, what else can he do in the NFL? He's done it, right? He's done all you can do in the league. And I think, once a head coach, always a head coach, you want to go, all right, Nick Saban went to the NFL to do what Bill Belichick did. Now Bill Belichick is coming back to college to try to see if he can do what Nick Saban did. I don't know if it's going to happen, but hey, it's not every day that a 73-year-old gets replaced by a 72-year-old. That don't happen every day in football. But
it's a youth movement.
But I will say this: I commend Bill Belichick for saying, look, man, I'm going to test these waters called college football. They say he bringing a lot of NIL money with him as far as he understands it. And what? Hey, man, mama, what? Bill Belichick on the phone. What? Yeah, he coming to the crib. Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I think Bill Belichick looked at the ACC, said, top to bottom, and said, I ain't scared of Clemson. I ain't scared of Miami. I ain't scared of SMU. I don't know what the hell going on in Tallahassee right now. So he want to throw his hat in the ring, and I'm excited to see what's going to go on with Bill. It's probably going to be a sale on cutoff hoodies, in North Carolina. But I think it's great for the sport, man. I'm going to definitely be rooting for him.
All right, I know it shocked Chris system, Lauren. You had to be followed the bet when you heard about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, wow, he's actually interested in that, and the fact that he came in and was like, actually, I mean, it happened fast, and I mean, when he's made the comment, hey, I want to get back into coaching, and I would even look at college jobs. It was interesting that he said that, and I was like, okay, I hear you, because other guys have said no way, no how, like Mike Tomlin and some of those guys. But I will say this about Carolina is, I was there during the first Mac Brown tenure, and I mean, this is a place that wants to get serious about football. They've really been trying to get serious about football and take that next step. They cheated a little bit to try to get there in the early 2000s, things like that, but they have always wanted to get serious about football since the 90s. And, this is another continued effort to do so. And like Ben said, you look at the ACC, at one time, didn't they have for a while, they had like 3 or 4 different, I think Clemson was in it a lot, but then it was like 5 or 6 other teams that played for the title against Clemson. So it can be a league that you can jump on, but he's going to have, like Ben said, the backing, and it's a place facility-wise. If you've ever been down there, I mean, they've renovated their facility twice before Florida built one. So, I mean, Kenan Stadium has gone under the renovations. It's a nice spot to go watch a game.
Beautiful stadium.
And he's going to have, he's going to have the facilities, and it's Bill Belichick. So like Ben said, I mean, the ability to get some really good players from some decent recruiting grounds there with Charlotte and Greensboro and Winston-Salem, and the connections with close to Columbia and some of those places, the Tidewater region, they've always done well there. And then schematically, I mean, he's going to be able to really look at some things and say, hey, we did this and this is how we did it. And, it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, France, before we get to that, volleyball team started out great tonight, won the first set. And then Stanford took 3 in a row, and the Gators got eliminated in the NCAA district. What kind of year did they
have? Good, not great. Biggest problem they had was Alexis Stuckey trying to come back from the ACL, wasn't able. They started playing her like the last 3 sets. They played Taylor Parks the first 2 and then play Stuckey the last 2 or 3. And because she really wasn't the same. And she will be next year. I believe that she will be back to a full the Stuckey we saw as a freshman and until she got injured. I think next year Florida will be one of the teams that nobody wants to play because they're going to be beating everybody. But they're going to be good next year. I hope Mary can get a national title. She's done everything else except that, and it would be like the crown jewel for her, and she needs that.
Can I ask a question about volleyball? And friends, you can echo this. There has never been a woman to win a national title in volleyball, I was told. Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow. That shocks me. When somebody told me that stat, I was shocked, but okay.
Mary would have won it. I think it was 2000 or 2001, but they were playing Southern Cal, and Southern Cal had a girl who was like 6'8" and a professional in Mexico that the NCAA conveniently overlooked. And then we also lost that year Benavia Jenkins, who was just this. Oh, my gosh, talk about playing on. Ben, you probably remember her.
That's a classmate right there.
She played on a pogo stick.
She got the greatest name with Ben. And I said, your name was Benavia? But yeah, I said, listen, I don't know if my future child's mother's gonna let me do that, but Benavia was definitely in the long list. It didn't make it, but
played volleyball on a pogo stick, and they didn't have her And if they'd had her, they probably win. If Southern Cal hadn't cheated, they had like 3 people who were legitimate pros, and the NCAA conveniently said, "What? There's a problem here," which they tended to do in those days. Anyway, enough of that.
Right,
Football wise,
to your comment on Belichick, which you haven't. Then we're going to go into the schedule. So give me your comments on Belichick.
Belichick, here's the thing. Do you think he's going to be bamboozled by some agent coming in there who he wants a player, and some agent comes in there and says, "Well, this kid should get $1 million a month." Yeah, and Bill Belichick can say, "I had Tom Brady. He didn't make $1 million a month." What's the guy going to say? He's going to be able to. They've got money at North Carolina. You ever heard of a company called Union Carbide? Those people are Carolina grads. You ever hear of a company called Johnson & Johnson? Carolina grads. A guy named Kerry Bossamer, a multi-gazillionaire in the textile industry, Carolina guy. They've got scads of money. All you got to do is look at the Dean Dome. They raised the money to pay cash to build the Dean Dome in 2 days. If they need the money at Carolina, they'll get it. Now they got a guy that's going to tell them, "This is what I got to have," and they'll pony it up. Trust me, they will do that. North Carolina suddenly became a legitimate contender. Maybe not next year, but give them another year or 2, because you also know how many guys want to be on a staff with Bill Belichick. They can have that on their resume. You want to talk about assistant coaches, guys in the NFL, or guys who want to get to the NFL. Hey, Bill, look at me. Here, we're at the coaches convention next week. Look at me, Bill. I'm available. He's going to be able to get the best of the best. And if I'm a kid from Western Walla Walla, Washington, and I want to play linebacker in the NFL, and Bill Belichick calls me, guess what? He gets on speed dial for me from that point on.
Yeah, he'll be able to do that for sure. Now, friends, you wrote about the schedule. Let me just point out that we've known the teams for quite some time. We just didn't know how they were going to flow. And they're going to play 4 teams that will probably be ranked in 2025. And some of these games are out of sequence. LSU being one. Playing LSU September 13th is going to feel odd. Then they turn around the next week and play at Miami. And they'll obviously be ranked. October 4th, Texas comes to the Swamp. That'll be a big day. October 11th, at Texas A&M ranked. Now, you wrote about this being a very hard schedule, every bit as hard as this year. Explain.
Well, here's the thing. 8 teams that they're playing are in bowl games. 3 of them are in the playoff. Okay. Those teams, you figure, are going to be pretty good. You're going to play Kentucky up there, and let's face it, do I think Kentucky's going to repeat 4-8? No, I don't, but I think they're going to be better than last year, and I think they play Florida tough, typically. And that game's up in Lexington. Tough place to play. Florida always, even during the Spurrier years, Florida had games up there in Lexington that weren't exactly the greatest games. And back when, back in the day in the 80s, you used to play that game in late November when the weather was crappy, and you'd go from 90 degrees on Florida in November, and you go up to Lexington, it's 32 and wet and mucky, and they played in that old crappy stadium before Commonwealth. Oh, that was a terrible, terrible place to play. But you look at this, the teams that Florida's playing, that are from the SEC went 65-32 last year. That's pretty good. You got 8-4 LSU, 11-2 Texas, 8-4 A&M, 11-2 Georgia, 9-3 Ole Miss, 10-2 Tennessee. That's pretty darn good schedule right there.
Is that harder than this year, Lauren?
No, I don't think it's harder than this year just because of the way things line up. I mean, I think it's spaced out a little better. Obviously, it's the same teams, and like Fran said, all those teams are going to be good and they're going to improve. Like he said, Kentucky won't be 4-8, but the way it kind of spaces out, I think is a little better. And I think that's one of the things, Georgia and then going to Kentucky versus Georgia, going to Texas, and then LSU, Ole Miss, kind of in that order. I mean, it was a tough one this year. Miami out the gate versus Miami the third week or the fourth week of the season. Just really no kind of cupcakes after Sanford. They got the two, so they'll be 2-0. Going into the Miami or the LSU game, going to LSU and then coming back and playing Miami. So it's just spaced out. But like Fran said, I mean, it's some go-getters and some guys that are going to want to get some get back. I mean, that third game against LSU is going to be a war just because of this past season's game and those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely the same teams, but I think the spacing gives you some breathing. You got Texas at home instead of going there. You got, so you got some of those things where you're not as and but Texas and then Texas A&M back to back. I mean, there's still some hiccups on there, but I think the way it spaces out is really better for the way that Billy Napier's teams have played, and maybe this team will even play next season.
Yeah, Ben, to open up with a powerhouse, Long Island University of Brooklyn.
Shout out to Ron Cooper, LIU.
Yeah, well, I mean, I will say this. I mean, I do agree. When you start talking about, because these are the schedules that I kind of like, came up in Florida playing. You get 2 winnable games to kind of build your confidence, and then it used to be Tennessee third game of the season. The weirdest part about this schedule is playing Tennessee as late as we play.
Exactly.
That's the only thing about it. I mean, when I said where, because I'm looking like, where's Tennessee at? It's like, look, these schedule makers. Look, I mean, I don't
flop Tennessee and LSU.
Yeah,
we always play LSU late and Tennessee early.
Yeah, Tennessee used to always be the third game of the year. I do agree. I don't agree a lot with what Kirby Smart says, but after the SEC championship game with Greg Sankey living right there with him sitting there saying, "Look, man, y'all schedule makers. I mean, what's up?" Because I thought the strength of schedule did mean something. And it does or it doesn't. If you're an Indiana fan, it don't. But it's fine. When you talk about what happened, I think Florida, they're gonna definitely get tested. I mean, you got Texas, then Texas A&M, and then you got Mississippi State. I mean, but I do like having Miami fourth game of the year. Hopefully Cam Ward ain't got no little brother that's transferring. But they're gonna have a new quarterback down there in Miami. But I mean, Florida knew that this schedule was gonna be difficult. Like you said to Lauren, it's some teams. Kentucky always gonna circle Florida. LSU definitely gonna. Florida got back in the win column against Kentucky this year. Got back in the win column against LSU this year. They kept LSU and Ole Miss for postseason aspirations to talk about the college football playoff. They're gonna remember that stuff like nobody's business. But it is gonna be a new year. When I like the little thing they did with Fred T and company with the whole schedule. Miles Graham and Ernest Graham. But this schedule is gonna be tough. November for Florida is gonna be. It looks real similar to this year. It's gonna be a gauntlet to make it to November. But hey, man, LIU. I don't know how Florida got them on the schedule. I'm happy that they did. I will play USF over UCF any day of the week. And hey, man, we got to go to Baton Rouge third game of the year, man. We won't know what we are the first 2 games outside of hopefully a high-powered offense, solid defense. But we're going to figure out real quick because Baton Rouge, I don't care what year it is, what team it is, that's a tough place to go in there and win. I don't care the season. But, hey, man, what can I say, man? Florida, 2 years in a row. For us not to be playing Auburn, for us not to be, playing Oklahoma, it feels like we are. It feels like Florida is playing everybody in the SEC. But, hey, man, it's not going to be an easy season 2025.
All right, in the final 2.5 minutes, I get a lot of questions about North Carolina now that they've got Belichick. And I've been asked by several people, not the least of which recently was our good friend, Dan Bond. Do you think UNC joins the SEC. France?
No.
30. Okay.
Period. No.
Okay.
I don't think the SEC is going to expand. I think 16 teams. I think they're already seeing the logistics issues they have in the ACC and in the Big Ten. And Sankey's right. No, we don't need to expand. Look at what the TV ratings did. The SEC, 8 of the top 10 watched teams are in the SEC. The SEC blew, as a whole, blew the Big Ten conglomerate out of the water.
Florida was ranked.
Wasn't even close.
Florida was the 10th ranked most ranked watch team. Lauren,
and that's in a bad year.
Yeah, Lauren, I agree with him. I don't think UNC is going to be in the
No, yeah, I don't see. I'm with friends. I just think Greg Sankey and then the member schools. I think 16 is a good number. Like Franz has lamented, they're all connected, all attached, and so logistically it works from a lot of the issues there. And yeah, I mean, I don't see I don't think obviously you can use UNC, but I don't think they need him, and that's where they are now. They're fine.
Yeah. All right, Ben, we'll go off with this. By the way, we heard about Castellano going to FSU. What's he, 5'9"?
Oh, come on, buddy! Don't that's when he wears cleats and puts.
Hey man, to me, listen. I thought I know what I was looking at first. I'm like, I thought it was a Kyler Murray meme. I'm like, what is this? And then I realized what they was doing. Hey, listen, hey, more power to that young man. It's all good.
If he's 5'7", if he's 5'7", that's wearing his cleats.
I won't make you fun of any short quarterbacks anymore after the one they got at Vanderbilt. He plays great. All right, so Ben, wrap it up on the night. The portal is still open. Players coming, players going. It's going to be a transitional period. We've had a really tough time keeping up. Give me your final thoughts on the night.
Well, number one, I mean, when it comes to the portal, I mean, I agree with some of my former teammates. I mean, I got former teammates arguing over could the 06 team beat the 08 team? Is these Ron Zook guys and all that? Listen, if you was at Florida and you left and you don't get to come back, remember, man, that's a decision that you made. And until just like a natural letter of intent, until they sign on the dotted line, I don't want to hear about no crystal balls. I don't want to hear about no. I see them going here until they are wearing orange and blue. It's a formality, but I like what we already got. Listen, that's Ole Miss what winning the portal do for you. You can get a bunch of them. That don't mean they're gonna help you. But I would give me an Elijah Badger. I'll take one of those. Yeah, I'll take one of those. Give me a DK. I'll take. If you ain't coming in contributing, hey man, you just get to rep them boys. But I don't put too much in that portal, man. I mean, only because I don't like when people say, "Oh, I got interested in coming to Florida." I bet you do. DJ Lagway got a lot of them interested in coming in the portal, but until they actually hear, I don't put too much down.
Okay, man. Lauren, 15 seconds. We'll go to France for the final word.
I want to give a shout out while we're on UNC to who I believe is one of the great gentlemen in college football history. Mac Brown was very generous to me when I was a young coach, and learned a lot working his football camp for 3 or 4 years, and just a really solid guy. So as we talk about Belichick, I mean, I just like to personally give kudos to Mac Brown for what he's meant to the game of football and for what he did for a young coach back in 1996.
Yeah,
so
one of the good guys.
I'm going to end on that one.
France, take us home.
Well, I think that the Florida Gators are in really good shape. I think we're going to have a good weekend, starting with basketball on Saturday against Arizona State. And I think the Fighting Hurleys are going to lose to the Gators in a big way. I think next week's going to be bowl week. And I like what Billy Napier said in response to my question today about having the continuity of and still having the momentum that from 3 wins at the end of the season. It hasn't been that long of a layoff, so they're still going to feel the momentum of that. I like that going into a bowl game that I think that Florida's going to win by 3 touchdowns or more. And you can't say enough about momentum going into the next season. when you've lost your last 4 games like they did last year, boy, it's like, I don't know, buddy, you remember Pigpen in the Snoopy cartoons, Peanuts, and Pigpen always walked in, had a cloud of dirt hanging over him. It's kind of like that with this program coming into this year, that cloud of dirt hanging over the program because you hadn't won. You lost your last, 5 games last year? And now they come into this next season with a momentum of 4. I like what I see. I like what the possibilities are. And right now, it just feels good to be a Gator again. And it's been a long time since we could really, we had to wait till spring for gymnastics and softball and track and field and baseball to feel good. Yeah. Now we can feel good again.
Exactly. By the way, I think the guy I remember is in Pogo. Joe Blistick over his knee. He had the cloud over his head all the time.
That was Little Abner.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, Little Abner. Yeah. Shout out to Franklin from the Peanuts, my guy.
Who was his best name is us? Who said that?
That was Pogo. We have met the enemy. They is us.
All right, guys. Great stuff, friends. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Ben.
Guys.
Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week. All right.
All right, gentlemen.
Bye, y'all.
All right, guys. Appreciate that very much. Got a good team there, man. It's always good to talk to those guys about football, and hope you enjoyed it as I did. Don't forget now. Thank you to John Brantley. Congratulations, new head coach of the Ocala Forest Wildcats Model School. Go Wildcats! All right, so and then we're off the weekend. We'll be watching ball and coming back to you next week. So be sure and subscribe to this channel. That helps us a lot. And also go to GatorBaitMedia.com. Check out the subscriptions there. You get to read some great stuff. Carlton Reese, Franz Beard, Dan Bond, the whole team. So check it out. We keep on top of things here. So thank you, Dan Bond, for your comments. I want to remind you of our sponsors, particularly the one I'm going to tell you about now. They are a fine group of people in Ocala. Renstar Medical Research has been doing this a long time. They sponsor a lot of programs. They also are taking care of our health. They have these trials, clinical trials constantly. They offer new opportunities to come be a part of these trials where you can discover more about your health, about our health, help them gather the data they need about our communities, send it off to the people who are in charge of this kind of stuff, and tailor make some of these prescriptions for us as we need them. Renstar Medical Research has been doing this a while. They've done like 800 of these clinical trials. So check them out. Our friends over there, Mary Brantley and Joe Sorrentino. And by the way, shout out to Joey Sorrentino of Marion Dental. Got a new dentistry there in Lake Lake. I went to see him recently. I'm going to go back. So Renstar Medical Research seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Well, folks, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Stick around till we're back this weekend. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon and often right here on the same channel, the same place all the time, the Buddy Martin Show. Don't forget Sidelines in the morning with Rob and the gang and Brendan, all coming to you on this network. Have a great one. Good night.